never missed Mass. Like so many from his era, he was a man who didn't need much, but who gave plenty, to family, friends, even strangers. He once brought home a mother and daughter when he found them stranded by the side of the road, struggling with their broken-down car. The city travellers stayed for the couple of days it took for their vehicle to be repaired. His concern for them was no surprise to us, as it wasn't when it came to Mum's deteriorating health. When Patricia, or Patty as we called her, could no longer care for herself, Dad stepped up. Her dementia was heartbreaking, but he held her close and did everything he could until he could do no more. Dad was the rock, and Mum the rock star. For so long she'd been so full of life. For her to fade before us was not what he or we expected. Worse, to Dad, the order of death was now terribly out of order. Dad was an old-fashioned man with traditional values. He was trusting and supportive, and a man who valued the expertise of others, including those he trusted with his health. It's why he deserved so much more from a hospital system that, in the end, didn't seem to value him. In the weeks before his death, he'd suffered pneumonia. An ambulance ride to the local emergency department had seen his chest infection successfully treated. But his recuperation in the nearby private hospital would end in disaster. The day before he was due to come home, he suffered a catastrophic stroke. In the middle of the night, as my older brother Chris and I stood at the end of Dad's bed, I picked up a clipboard of notes left on the covers at his feet. There, in black and white, was a terrible revelation. Dad had not received, of all things, his anti-stroke medication for the entire length of his stay in the private hospital, 8 days. We were horrified. The discovery would set me on a course of no return. I needed to understand why something so fundamental, so basic, had not been done, and I would soon learn that health services for those in rural, regional and remote Australia were, in many instances, appalling. In my father's case, I would find out that on his admission to hospital, the list of his essential medications had not been properly transcribed. Dad hadn't received his anti-stroke medication because it had simply not been written down. An investigation revealed that there was only one doctor in this 79-bed private hospital. I soon formed the view that Dad had always been at risk, and I'd learn that that was the opinion of so many others reliant on our health system, whose misfortune it was to live outside the big cities. As Dad lay silent, we gathered as a family around his bed. With an aching sense of emptiness and a dreadful rising pain, I felt the need to say something while Dad was still with us. How he'd fought the good fight and always been so strong. I wanted to think he could hear us, to tell him we loved him. And then we applauded. It was time for Beth Ryan, our rock, the champion sailor and home brewer, my childhood running coach, and Patty's loyal carer, to leave the building, just as Mum had a little more than 12 months before. I'm a dairy farmer's daughter. Dad and Mum, both locals born and bred, worked 100 acres of mostly lush green land on Oxley Island, one of a number of islands clustered within the Manning River as it snakes its way to the mid-north coast of New South Wales. As a young girl, I was nimble on my feet. My long, skinny Ryan legs propelled me around an athletics track with a swiftness that, for a while, had Dad pretty excited. During my primary school years, I was a regular winner in local competitions. I would nearly always come home with a blue ribbon pinned to the chest of my white t-shirt or a silver cup with big handles. I didn't have a coach, but Dad came pretty close to being just that, and he was my biggest support.